Welcome back to episode 26 of the NoStoppingKev show. Is that right? Is that the right number?
I could have did that. Yes, that's the right number. We are at show 26 this week.
All right, welcome back to episode 26 of the NoStoppingKev show. Shout out to myself. Got to give myself a little bit of credit because I got the number right this week. Last week I messed it up, but someone decided not to correct me.
You're right. I didn't correct you. I didn't want to correct you on the air.
No, it would have something like that. We gotta get right.
Okay.
I was slipping.
It won't happen again.
But I rebounded. I got that Dennis Rodman rebound this week, so I'm on point. All right, this week is gonna be a great topic. But before we get into today's show, gotta ask, how you feeling?
Actually, I'm feeling pretty good today. I'm feeling pretty good.
Why? What's the reason?
I don't know. Maybe I don't have to rush to work tonight.
Oh, I guess that's good. You need a day off every now and then.
Well, it's not a day off. It's switched days for me. Like I usually get off late Friday night, and then got to go in Saturday night.
And you record here Saturday morning. So it sounds like you out here grinding, man.
Yeah, but I ain't busy as you.
About that life.
Not busy as you.
You gotta be about that life sometimes. A week feels like it was a long week, but on Monday I went back to school, man. I was back at Penn. Got to be a guest in Jamie Lee's sports narrative class. So she's a big fan of our show. She loves listening to our show on Run. So shout out to Jamie Lee for supporting the No Stopping Kev show since day one. It was just a great experience engaging with students. They watch Hoop Dreams, which is a documentary that followed, two, I'll say, 8th graders throughout high school and into their college run. I believe it was in Illinois. But just following their journey and seeing the things they had to deal with off the court. There were some areas of the documentary that kind of resonated with me and I think our story. So if you haven't seen it,
you know what? That's it's like an old show. That show been out for a while, right?
It's a documentary.
But it's been around for a while. I kind of remember
it's from the 90s, I think.
Yeah, I kind of vaguely remember that. I probably have to check it out again, and then I can really remember it. But it sounds familiar when you talked about the two student 8th graders. So that really brought back some memory. So yeah, I had to watch it again, and I know I've seen it.
Yeah, and then we can talk about it. So that was a great experience just because I got asked a lot of good questions. I thank our class for giving me that opportunity and experience to share more about why we do the show and a little bit of behind the scenes knowledge of what goes into this and really our motivation and passion behind it. So thank you again, and I hope that our students continue to listen. But what was one of the big stories in the sports world, Dad, that's kind of been on every news station, especially the sports ones? What we talking about?
Colin Kaepernick.
What?
Colin Kaepernick.
What? Colin Kaepernick?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, you said.
Well,
what?
What are you doing?
All right, I'm gonna chill.
Yes, please chill.
I'm chill. I'm just letting you know. I probably can't cut that, man. That was
you ain't gonna cut it no way.
That was you at your best, man.
You're not gonna cut that anyway.
All right, yeah. So what's good with Colin Kaepernick, Dad?
Yeah.
What's going on with him?
Huh?
What's going on? Give me some backstory.
About him being kind of blackballed from the league?
Yeah, from
3 years ago?
Yeah, so 3 years ago, Colin Kaepernick started taking a knee during the national anthem to raise awareness about different injustices that people in the black community were facing. And specifically, police brutality, right? Because how many times have we seen an unarmed black man be beaten or murdered by police and, we get no justice, right? So, he really wanted to raise awareness around, different issues impacting the black community. And it turned into this whole, he's disrespecting the flag. He's not American, all this, when it's not what he's doing. It's not about, disrespecting the flag or anything like that. It's raising awareness. And even when, people pointed out that there were racist lyrics in the national anthem, we don't sing that part, but it's a part of that song. Why doesn't anyone want to acknowledge the truth, right? So, Colin Kaepernick has been fighting. He had a settlement in the last year with the NFL regarding this case. And, he wants a shot at playing football again in the NFL, which he's probably good enough to do so. I think he's definitely probably better than some backups on teams and maybe even better than some starters on teams. But, it's been a big debate centered around last week's workout.
Yeah, I think, did they just give him that to just prove that, or just give him something to say that they was doing something to try to give him back? Because the way they were stressing the waiver and all like that, because that was a big part of that.
Yeah, so, they were giving him a workout, right? So it's like, all right, we're going to set up this workout for you. But there were a lot of red flags with the workout.
Right, yeah. I'm
like,
saying.
Who puts a workout? He couldn't change the date, and it had to be on a Saturday in the middle of football season. What day do most games around the league occur on?
Football Sundays.
So, Saturday, how many teams are in Atlanta? I don't even know if the Falcons were playing.
But you know what? Excuse me for cutting you off. You know what? But Atlanta was away that weekend. They were played away that weekend.
That's what I was about to say. Like, was Atlanta even home that weekend?
No,
So no team was set to be in Atlanta. So all your key people, your coaches, your GMs, all those guys are probably wherever the team is. Right. So not where Colin Kaepernick is. So you're sending out lower level guys for the most part. And, so that was like the first red flag. Then I kind of got confused because, I saw updates like the day of, like, oh, now the workout's going to take place, new location. I'm like, what's going on with this? This is fishy. But, what happened was there was a waiver that they wanted Colin Kaepernick to sign before the workout, kind of in the 11th hour. And he didn't want to sign it because it would have been essentially waiving his rights. He wouldn't have been able to sue the NFL if he went to the workout and no team picked him up. If he got injured there, there would be. Right. But the big thing was not being able to sue him if he didn't get a job. And the NFL was like, this is the standard waiver we give to any free agent when we organize a workout like this. Colin Kaepernick's legal team was like, false. This is not the standard waiver. Nice try. So, what I believe was NFL is trying to still keep him out of the league.
I agree with you on that. I kind of really agree because they want to control things and they want to have it their way. And like all that you said, for the way that they constructed the workout and all like that, they wanted to control it and have their way and be free of any charges or anything that they could be sued against.
Right. So, Stephen A. has been in the hot seat, especially from the black community this week, because, you look at First Take and him and Max Kellerman are always kind of going at it. And Stephen A. is kind of on the side of, what was Cap's motive? What was he doing here? Arguing that he made an emotional decision that wasn't the best decision. And I do understand some of Stephen A.'s perspective. And I'll get to that in a moment. But I'll say first and foremost, I personally agree with the way Cat went about it, because the other stipulations to this NFL workout was Cap couldn't have his media team there. He had to use their personnel. So the people he would be throwing the ball to isn't his people. So when you already don't trust the league, I'm not going to let you dictate all the variables with this. Because, one, you got to control your own narrative. You can't let them. They already did you wrong once. It's like if I let you interview me, I give you information, and you write a story that totally blows the information I gave you out of context to paint a picture that isn't accurate. I'm not going to let you write another article on me. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
You messed up that one time out there. Trust is broken. So that's what happened with the NFL, right? Colin doesn't trust it. Doesn't trust the organization. So he got to try to make sure he at least controls the narrative, which is why, by moving the location, he was able to have his own media people there, use his own receivers, and, kind of do it his way. And I think that, one point Stephen A. raised is that was planned. And I'm like, well, yeah, you got to have a backup plan whenever, there's a chance something can go terribly wrong. You got to control, like I said, you got to control the narrative here.
Well, that's just like negotiations, right? You like you said, you got to have some kind of backup because, it might fall through. And actually, he was right. It did fall through. And
that was another point that they made. There was, like Max Kellerman was saying, even in a negotiation, you don't give up everything.
That's right.
It's some give and take to it.
That's right.
And you got to meet somewhere in the middle. NFL was asking Cap to give it all up. They wanted complete control.
But see, then again, maybe the NFL really didn't want it to happen. So maybe that's why they put it there. So if he didn't have something backed up, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, and I think Colin Kaepernick's camp was smart by making sure they said, basically, by the time we leave Atlanta, when we get out of the fine state of Georgia, Colin's going to showcase that he still has talent. And what, people evaluating him said is he still has an elite arm. He's still one of the best quarterbacks in the country and the world,
Yeah.
So, definitely top 64. No one's saying he's not top 64, meaning he should at least be a backup on one of the NFL's 32 teams. But, Stephen A. feels like if Cap really wanted a job, right, he would have shown up and abided by what the NFL was dictating, because apparently they was like, if he comes, does this workout, he should have a job in 2 weeks. I'm not just going to trust someone's word for it, right? And when you're moving a lot of parts where there's a lot of things in question, it's hard for you to trust that, right? It's hard for you to trust a system that's already taking advantage of you.
Yeah, right.
So, Stephen A's whole thing is like, all right, if you have 32 owners, right, and 31 of the 32 are white, he's arguing that, if you want a job, you basically got to play ball with the way they want you to play ball, right? So it's like, if I want a job corporate, right, there's certain things I probably can and can't do, especially being a black man, right? I'm going to be looked at a certain way already, unfortunately. But there's a certain way you carry and present yourself, right? So that's what he's basically arguing, where I'm like, Stephen A., that doesn't quite fit this scenario. The reason being is that he's already been blackballed for 3 years.
Right.
So now all of a sudden you want me to fully comply when the league organized for me not to have a job. Like, they already was like, we don't want you. And it's like, if it's not about my football talent, what is it about? So I think Colin Kaepernick should be able to come there wearing whatever he wants. Like, if he had a Kunta Kinte shirt on, whatever, that doesn't matter. You're here to evaluate my football talent, not what I believe about social injustices here in America. That's not what you're evaluating. So Stephen A's whole thing is he needs to fit in. He needs to give them what they want.
Well, like you said, it don't matter what shirt he wear. You're not coming there to see what shirt he is. But see, you know what? It might be that, they might want to make it look like he's not blackballed no more.
Mm-hmm. But that's why they want to give him that shot.
Undercover, he blackballed because he deserved to be in the league.
Nope.
It's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
He played in the league 6 seasons. So you
went to a Super Bowl, almost went back to a second.
Right. So you can't say that this man don't deserve that.
And I will say that people will argue that his numbers, in that last season went down. But we all know in a game like football, there's a lot of variables that go into having a good quarterback. You got to have a good line. You got to have people to throw the ball to. You also got to have a good run game so that you have a balanced attack. It's not like basketball where you kind of go one-on-one and get numbers. Football doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So it's like when people are arguing, like, oh, well, look at his numbers. I'm like, well, how good was the team? What changed? I think there was a coaching change somewhere in there. It's like, or offensive coordinator change. I'm like, well, look at when, being here in Philly, I'm like, look what happened when Chip Kelly came in, changed personnel, schemes change. It doesn't always fit.
Right.
So you can't just evaluate a guy's numbers. The numbers aren't going to tell the whole story.
Yeah. Some systems is better for some players, and some players can do that. Like if you come in there and you come into a whole different system, then that quarterback or something might have to adjust. He might have to adjust. So that year, his numbers might not be as great as they was the year before. But that don't mean the following year that he couldn't be back in, or that season he couldn't pick up neither.
Right.
Right.
Some growing pains with it.
Yeah.
But, a lot of people are arguing that it was a publicity stunt by Colin Kaepernick, and his whole speech after, the workout where he's like, I've been waiting for 3 years, but I've been denied for 3 years. Like, that whole thing is theatrics, so to speak. It's like, no, he's telling his story. Like, could he pit it in a way that would be less confrontational with the NFL? Probably so. But I'm not going to fault a guy for all he's been through.
But, he's speaking his heart, his feelings.
Yeah.
You know what? The NFL ain't going to try to be the bad guy. They're going to try to make this guy still a bad guy for what he did. They not letting go of what he done. They still hold that because, otherwise he would have another shot. Somebody would have, it wouldn't be 2 weeks. He don't need 2 weeks. After the workout, he should be picked up now on somebody's team because, he can help somebody.
Yeah. Like the Eagles' backup quarterback is a 40-year-old man.
I didn't want to say about our team in Philadelphia could use him too. What worse could he do?
Yeah, I'm rolling with Wentz right now, but if Wentz goes down, I don't know. I feel like Colin might be in a little bit better shape. And you're looking at NFL is moving towards more mobile quarterbacks. Colin Kaepernick was, after Michael Vick, Russell Wilson, like he was in that second generation of kind of quarterbacks that could, get the job done with their feet.
Well, like you say, the game has changed, and even in that quarterback position, Like I hate to jump, but when you talk about basketball with the centers that can shoot 3-pointers now, the game is changing, and it's more excitement when that quarterback do like that. We always had that with Randall Cunningham, Donovan McNabb. We had that here.
Yeah, you just made me think back to some of the old days, man.
Old days?
Yeah. But, to your point about making Cap out to be the bad guy, that's one point Matt Kellerman was raising. It's like it's on the NFL to do the right thing because they have such control over the entire sport of football.
Right.
Like, they control football, essentially. One league.
Right.
So it's like it's up to them to do the right thing as such a powerful organization to not, railroad one individual for something that, like, he didn't commit a crime. He didn't break any league rules. It wasn't against league rules to stand or to kneel during the national anthem. Like, he didn't break anything. He didn't do anything wrong. But they wanted to silence him for standing up for what he believed in. So, it's like, for me, it doesn't matter what he says or kind of does. Because, he's not breaking any laws. He's just trying to raise awareness on issues that are impacting marginalized groups of people. And so, as far as him having a job in the NFL, just grade him on his talent. Like, as far as noise in the locker room, I don't think he's divided the locker room in when he was in San Francisco. Some people knelt with them.
Yeah.
So as far as that whole thing, I don't want fans coming to the games. People gonna watch football. Like, people gonna come see their team. Just because you signed this man, don't think people not coming to the games. That's rah-rah. They'll be there.
Yeah,
them seats are gonna be full.
Yeah.
Like, NFL controls Sundays, Mondays, and parts of Thursday,
Thursdays
right?
Now, yeah.
Football is such a big sport in American culture that they're not just gonna give it up because of one guy.
Yeah, that wasn't gonna hurt. That he didn't hurt football.
You gonna have some people protesting, but some of those people out there protesting probably still gonna have their season tickets. They're not giving that all up.
People protest about stuff anyway.
Yeah, so I don't want to hear like any reason that you come up with that. We're worried about this. That's BS to me.
No. Yeah. I mean, I don't think any team that signed him, he going to hurt their attendance. It's not going to hurt their attendance.
Yeah, it's going to be some drama, but I think it starts from the top down. If you stand beside him and you say this is what it is, people are going to fall in line. Your organization's going to fall in line and your fan base will fall in line.
I just, you know what? The media is what's going to start the problem. I really don't believe it's that the media gonna, because that's their job to sell newspapers and, to get headlines and stuff like that. I believe, like, he stood up for what he believed. And like you said, that is not a crime. He just spoke out loud. That's all.
Yeah, and, he probably was one of the most consistent. He became the face of the movement, especially in regards to the NFL with it. But, I just hope things, work out and someone actually does give him the opportunity to play, because it's clear based on the workout that he did have that he's still good enough to play in the league and he deserves the spot. So that's not anything that anyone can refute, and you never hear anyone saying that he shouldn't at least be a backup on someone's team.
I think that he should be in the league myself.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing him backing up back here in Philly.
Man, I just hope Wentz gets his stuff together. But, I fully support Cat, because do it on your terms. Like, you got to kind of sometimes take control, and I think being in the situation that he's in, he's kind of forced to do it his way so that he can control his narrative. Because, that waiver was it was like the NFL was trying to force too much. Like, they only gave him 48 hours to respond if he'll be there. It's like, why are you rushing all of this? Like, why are you trying to make me make an impulse decision?
Because, I feel, you know what, they might have didn't want it to happen. Or, like you said, they wanted to control it.
Yeah, I feel like it was a thing where it was like checking a box. It's like, oh, we gave him an opportunity. Yeah. Whether it happens or not, we gave the opportunity. And if he shows up, we'll release what footage we want. They were just controlling too much of it. So I think he was right in doing his thing to do it his way, so that, y'all can show whatever footage you want from it. I'm going to show what I want to show. And, what I didn't understand was, like, why would they want to dictate to, like, I know why they wanted to do it, but I don't understand why other people can't see the red flags with this thing, where it's just so much control.
With that part of it, I don't think they want him back in the league.
Oh, no, they don't.
That's why they did it the way they did it, and I think that's why they structured it the way that they structured it.
I'm just glad Cap's team saw the trap coming, Right. And I think that, you can't. Stephen A. also compares Colin Kaepernick to some of the other players in the league that have, kneeled, raised fists and things like that in the NFL during the national anthem. I don't think you can compare them. You know why?
Why?
Because they weren't blackballed.
Right.
They weren't the face of what Colin Kaepernick represents. Yeah, they still went and complied. I don't know if anyone's still kneeling in the NFL today or if they changed the rules. But no one went as far as Cap went. So for that reason alone, I don't think you can compare him.
Well, you think because he was the first to do it?
The first to get attention? Yeah, that might be a point. And it's like, like he represents it. So they're killing. They're trying to kill the.
So they want to set an example.
They want to kill the face of it.
Right. And let you know, if you want to fall behind this, you're going to lose all this, or you're going to lose all that too. It's just something.
And going back to what I was just saying, it's like Cap has gone the distance, and so for that reason alone, I think that's why he has to do it on his terms. He's like modern day Muhammad Ali. Ali wasn't gonna go fight in the war because he's like, y'all don't take care of me here. Yeah. Like, I'm an American, y'all don't take care of me here. Same thing with Colin Kaepernick. It's like, listen, I'm an American. Y'all don't care about me and my people.
Right. He just stood up.
So it's like, if the fact that the system was just like the system was failing Muhammad Ali and other black people. It's like, why should you fight for the same thing with Colin Kaepernick? All he's doing is emphasizing that the system is failing the black community, which is evident by police shootings. That's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of injustices that we face day in and day out, and you just see it time and time again. And, quite frankly, it feels like at times no one cares. Like no one cares when it's a black problem. Like you look at another big instance of this is crack in the 80s. It was killing the African American community, right? You look at now the opioid epidemic.
Yeah.
Once it start affecting white people, now it's a big thing. But no one cared about it back in the 80s. It's like, it's.
Well, back in the day, they used to say, sell it in the black neighborhoods. Let them do that. But like you said, when they start reaching out to their neighborhoods and their kids start getting it now, they want to do something about it.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, we all understand that the NFL wants to silence Colin Kaepernick. They kind of want the whole thing to go away. And what's, I guess, astonishing in some regards is the fact that they don't want to hear the reason. Like, no one's listening to, why he's done this. And, I was in a position one time at work, right, where this lady, we were talking about, people in our office were talking about football from the weekend. And this one lady who doesn't work directly in our office, she's visiting because she oversees different teams. She goes to me, and mind you, I'm the only black person in the office that day. You want to know what this lady from Texas says to me? I just wish they would stop the kneeling and get back to playing football. And I was just like, well, like, because she was like, yeah, all this, like, disrespecting the flag. So I was like, it's not a... Oh, no, she said, I wish they can stop the kneeling stuff and just get to playing football. And I was like, you do understand that they're kneeling to raise awareness about issues impacting the black community, like police brutality. And she kind of shrugged it off, and, she went to... This was the kicker right here. She was like, yeah, I love African Americans. Like, my daughter is married to an African American, and at that point, I was like, it was that I'm not racist because my daughter is married to a black man. It was just like, I'm not going to go down this road with you because this is not the place. One of my colleagues was walking by. I was, hey, what you doing for lunch today? I just had to leave her there.
Yeah.
It's... So people don't want to listen to the root of this thing, which... it's very similar to what we have seen recently with Malcolm Jenkins here in Philadelphia. He called out the police department. He's saying that we need a commissioner that's not going to just side with the police union because the police union protects bad cops.
Yeah.
Whether it's violence or the racist Facebook post, how can we protect these men who are supposed to protect and serve Philadelphia citizens, right?
Right.
And in a city with such a large black population, how can the people in uniform that are supposed to do the right thing, that are supposed to protect you and me, if they don't like us simply because of the color of our skin, how is that ever going to work?
Well, we always going to have this problem.
Unfortunately, that's true.
Unfortunately, because it's like you said, we do need somebody to stand up and not really hide it or step up to it, especially when it comes to the forefront. Yeah. Not try to cover up anymore. It's already there. You already seen it. Now you starting more stuff by really trying to hide it.
Yeah, and Malcolm Jenkins wrote an op-ed about this, and all it really comes down to is holding people accountable and doing the right thing.
Right.
And John McNesby, who is the president of the Philadelphia Fraternal Order of Police, he comes back and, he's calling Malcolm Jenkins a non-resident washed up football. And what does that have to do with the issue?
Right.
When Malcolm Jenkins was asked about it the next day, he didn't say anything about McNesby directly.
Right. He didn't. Yeah. He said, let's just stay on the point of focus on what we focusing on.
And what he recognizes is that if I go back and respond to what he said about me, now the focus shifts on Malcolm versus McNesby. He's like, let's focus on the issue of what we're trying to do here, what we're trying to accomplish. Because I don't care if Malcolm Jenkins isn't a resident of Philadelphia. I know that black communities all across this country face the same issues.
Thing. That's right. Yeah.
If he's going to do the work here, I thank you, my brother, because we need it.
Right. And I'm glad that he stepped up with it. And then look how McNeese got over what he just said.
Mm-hmm. It's like
so he really touched the nerve.
Yeah, and it's like you really just played yourself.
Yeah.
You really just made yourself look like a behind by the way you responded.
Yeah. And Malcolm, you know what? And then, like you said, when he was faced, he was cool about it. He ain't backlash. Yeah. He ain't go tick for tack with him, and that was smart.
Yeah, and all Malcolm is calling for is a city commissioner, a police commissioner who isn't, lockstep with the union. That's not gonna just side with the union because of the brotherhood.
Right.
It's let's have people in uniform that are gonna do the right thing, because that's what we need if there's ever gonna be justice.
And like you said, that's their job, to protect and serve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You don't pose, but you're not protecting the bad guy. You don't. So why are you gonna protect the bad cop?
Right. And McNesby, stated that the police don't, hide disciplining cops or try to hide bad cops. I don't know for sure, but
no, I mean, having some cops been fired and something like that.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, if I think the point is that they try to cover up some things that police officers do, which I'm sure happens.
Man, as long as I've been living, since I've been a kid, they've been covered up stuff. It's stories every once in a while. Still breaks. So how you know what? It's like you playing basketball. How many elbows do you get through with before you get caught with one? So how many things do you think they done covered up that didn't come out?
Oh, a ton of them.
A few of them get out, but a lot of them probably don't. More probably get hit than come out.
Yeah, and I think that I really like the way this one article I read about it ended with the quote from Malcolm, and I think it kind of summarizes the whole situation. Malcolm said, we're talking about trying to make our community safer. We're trying to work together to make. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Let me do a take. Can I do a take two on that? Take two.
Make sure you don't cut that out, neither.
Oh no, I'm gonna cut that part. No, it's all good. But he basically said we're trying to make our community safer. And whenever you have, I'm slightly paraphrasing here. Wherever you have rhetoric that comes from either side, what it does is shift the focus, and what the media begins to do is cover who's fighting. And he said that's why he never responds to things like that. He wants to stay focused on, the topic and the issues that are at hand. He wants people to start discussing what they want to see out of the next police commissioner, and what they want to see out of the police department, and how we think they should kind of go about cleaning up our streets, and put an end to senseless murders. I think that you need people with a platform to speak up. McNesby, his whole thing was, Malcolm Jenkins is a football player. He sucks. He needs to sit down and let us handle this. Let us figure this out. But no, if Malcolm Jenkins hadn't written his op-ed, if McNesby doesn't respond, then this might not even catch attention. And one thing that I have found, especially coaching basketball, is that a lot of students aren't quite aware of what's going on in the community from a political standpoint, which is important. You need to kind of know what's going on because it's going to affect us. And even when I was a kid, I wasn't always super involved or up to date in these social issues, but I think now it's probably important more than ever. So, thank you, Malcolm Jenkins, for using your platform to continue to raise awareness and fight this battle. because we're going to need it, especially for, you know, the black community, especially when there's so much wrong with different systems that are in place. We got to keep fighting against it. And, you know, we got to get ready to bounce. But, you know, I personally think Colin Kaepernick and Malcolm Jenkins for their service. You know, I got to say thank you to them. You know, people don't always agree. I won't always agree 100% with what they do. But the mission that they're on, I think it's one that's needed. You know, I hope that we see a day where Colin Kaepernick is back on an NFL team, because that'd be something I could show my children one day, where it's like, listen, if you strongly believe something because you know something is wrong and you want to see a change, you can make the change. Now, you'll probably have to sacrifice for it. You're going to have to give some things up. The road's going to get tough. People will probably try to put an end to you altogether, break you down to nothing. But it's possible for a change to still be made. And that case study is going to be Colin Kaepernick.
Well, he is that. And like I said, I hope he get another shot myself.
Yeah, so, Dad, tell the people where they can listen to us at before we bounce.
I don't know why you always do this to me. What is it, Spotify? Okay. You know what? You do. You got it. You got it down. I don't know why you do this.
I might do you a favor and cut that.
Good, thank you.
I'm going to post it later, though, in a blooper.
Okay, you can do that.
All right, y'all. So thank you again for tuning in. As always, you can listen to us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, or Podbean. So until next time, family, we out. Love you. Have a great week.
And God bless.